Hello, good evening. So I was feeling drawn and compelled to read a bit about this interesting stone called Azeztulite. And I wasn't aware of it. I had no knowledge of it until I purchased this book called The Book of Stones, Who They Are and What They Teach, the revised and expanded edition. It's by Robert Simmons and Naisha Asian. It's spelled Ahsian. So they talk about this stone that Azeztulite. Let's see what they have to say about it. So this is epilogue. Azeztulite Awakening. It starts with a quote. The philosopher's stone, a common substance found everywhere, but unrecognized and unappreciated. A legend tells us that alchemists were continually searching for the philosopher's stone, usually depicted as a white rock, which was outwardly unimpressive, but which had the power to convert lead into gold and to convey longevity, enlightenment, and even immortality. Mythologists and lore keepers have in more recent times viewed the philosopher's stone as a metaphor rather than a real object, symbolic of the wholeness of self, achieved with the completion of the great work. Some of us who work with stones have looked at this and other legends, such as that of the Stone of the Holy Grail, as possibly resonant with actual stones, which are able to mysteriously bridge the apparent chasm between the spiritual and physical realms. It may be true as well that the chasm is only a micron wide, and the step across is a shift in perception. Whatever the truth of such speculations, the story of Azeztulite's rise from the utter unknown to its prominence in the world of spiritual seekers is, to me at least, highly provocative and worthy of consideration by those open to some rather astonishing possibilities. Hey, little wing! Happy New Year, Fiona! It's good to see you! Have you heard of this Azeztulite stone before? I hadn't. So I put a picture from this book up as the thumbnail, but I'll show it to you here. It looks like a mountain. I wonder how big it actually is. Okay, so Azeztulite came to us at heaven and earth in an unusual way, of which we have written before. Naisha Asian, my co-author of the Book of Stones back in 1991, before we knew each other well, called me with a story. She did a lot of channeling and inner intuitive research in those days and was a very open clairvoyant. She said she had been inwardly in contact with a group soul angelic entity signified by the name Azez, A-Z-E-Z. These etheric beings told her that they traveled the universe looking for planets ready to make the shift to a higher spiritual vibrational level, and that upon finding such a planet, they stationed themselves etherically at grid points and power places, funneling in beneficial spiritual currents. They called themselves servants of the nameless light, a vibration of love and awareness emanating from the great central sun, the spiritual center of the universe. As an aspect of their work, they told her they often would find and repattern the vibrational blueprint of a stone that inhabitants of that planet could use to tap into the currents of the nameless light, thereby aiding in making the shift. The Azez told Naisha that they were about to activate an earthly stone for just this purpose, and that it was to be called Azeztulite. Isn't this juicy? The reason she came to me with the story was that the Azez also told her that heaven and earth, which is capitalized, I believe that's the name of their business, that heaven and earth would be the source for Azeztulite. They instructed Naisha to have a special pendant made for her friend containing moldavite, phenacite, tanzanite, danburite, and azeztulite. When Naisha got to this part of the story, I told her that I would gladly make the pendant, but that I certainly had no azeztulite. Naisha replied that the Azez had told her not to worry, that if I didn't have the stone yet, I would soon. There is much more to this part of the story, including some stunning synchronicities and apparent dematerialization and rematerialization of a large phenacite crystal, and the arrival of the first Azeztulite at heaven and earth, in the mail from a complete stranger. Those interested can find the details in the Azeztulite chapter of the Book of Stones. Suffice to say that when the first pieces arrived, Naisha instantly recognized them and urged us to buy them, which we did. Though the seller thought this stone were phenacite, they turned out to be an oddly formed type of quartz, which had been mined in North Carolina and come 25 years earlier. But on the vibrational level, they were like nothing we'd ever felt before. They were far more high frequency and intense than any quartz we had ever touched, yet with an undertone of loving gentleness that made them very pleasant to handle. As suggested, we called the new stones Azeztulite, and we have been offering them for the past 15 years. Over the course of that time, we gradually purchased all of the original miner's supply, and we later discovered, as predicted by the Azez, other Azeztulite stones in Vermont. The first of these were brought to us once again by a stranger, a Vermont rockhound who had found some rather nondescript quartz pieces and who wondered whether we were interested in buying them. I nearly turned him down because they were not crystal points and were not much to look at, but then I took a moment to feel the currents of the stones. The hair on the back of my neck stood up when I felt, once again, the intense yet loving, blessing pulsations of Azeztulite. I took the stones and let Naisha check them out, and she confirmed that the prophesized Vermont Azeztulite had been found. We added the new stones to our line, and they allowed us to offer many more items of jewelry, tumbled stones, wire wraps, and polished pieces. Azeztulite was beginning to move out more widely into the world. During the 15 years we have offered Azeztulite. Okay, so it's been 15 years. I was wrong. I thought it was just 1 decade. Hey, Genevieve, welcome in. Yeah, Azeztulite. Azeztulite. Interesting. All right, where am I? So during the 15 years we have offered Azeztulite, I have had many confirmations of the seemingly wild and improbable story of their origin, activation, purpose, and potential. One repeating pattern has displayed itself at the gem shows we attend. Each year, new people who have never heard of Azeztulite discover it in our booth or showroom. For a percentage of them, the discovery is immediately life-changing. Again and again, an individual has picked up an Azeztulite stone, held it for a moment, felt a surge of recognition, and burst into tears. More than once, it has been someone who was a stone energy disbeliever. One woman described the stone as the essence of home, meaning the place of her origin as a self. This resonates in my mind with Azeztulite's link to the great central sun. Another time, on the last day of our 2 weeks at the annual Tucson show, a woman called, begging us to hold up packaging our wares because her spirit guides had told her that the stone of her destiny was in our room. When she arrived, she too burst into tears when she held the Azeztulite, and she knew this was the stone of which her guides had spoken. I just got goosebumps. Another repeating phenomenon around Azeztulite is head to toe, full body goosebumps. Hey, what? That's the fly I think that tried to fly in my mouth yesterday or the day before. Okay. I have learned to associate these with the invisible presence of the Azez. That's because they inevitably come when I am behind the showroom counter speaking to someone about the story of Azeztulite. Somewhere during the story, either I, the customer, or both of us, in some cases as many as 4 people at once, get a sudden rushing current of vibration in the body, which brings out the all-over goosebumps. It is as though the Azez are called when we speak of them, or they come because they want to facilitate the connection that is occurring. It has been happening now for 15 years, almost every time I tell the story, even though I have told it hundreds of times. Anybody else having the goosebumps? Because I'm still having them. Do you see that fly? It's like I think it's a gnat. Whew. Oh, I love you. Here we are together. It's good. Goosebumps. Wow. Okay. These anecdotes and tales of the threshold of the first reaction people have to encountering Azeztulite. Such moments are magical, but where do they lead? Where are they meant to take us? When Naisha first communicated with the Azez, she was given these words, quote, "After some manipulation and alteration, we, the Azez, engineered the stone Azeztulite. It has the capacity to handle the intense energies being carried by it. Until recently, we did not have the technology to engineer a vessel to contain this energy frequency. Azeztulite is that vessel. In our culture, Azez is the term for that which is the nameless light, the embodiment of which is the great central sun. Please understand the implications of what we are explaining. This stone is the embodiment of the Azez and carries with it the manifest energy of the great central sun. This is a powerful stone. This stone heralds in many changes. This stone will enable those of you who are telepathic windows and dimensional engineers to begin to reclaim the knowledge of these practices from your genetic memory banks. We will now begin to make ourselves known more fully to those beings to aid in this awakening and transformation. Disease on your planet is the result of certain frequencies of light. You block cellularly these light waves through thought-form shields and contracting emotional patterns. Your cellular consciousness are therefore unable to properly learn and expand, resulting in disease. Azeztulite carries energies and frequencies of light that help release the shields and blocks, healing disease and aiding in cellular rejuvenation and expansion. Likewise, its activation at certain points on your planet will aid in healing the total organism of Gaia." End quote. My friend Anne in California, she talks about the light like that. In fact, she was a part of this like groundbreaking glass product, selling glass bottles that would like amplify certain light energies inside, but it would keep the bad ones out. Hey, Lucky Stone, welcome. I think so too. So interesting. Okay, I'll show you this next picture now that I just got onto the next page, and then I'll continue reading where we're at. As I read these words now, 15 years later, their context is clearer. The Azez say that the stone Azeztulite carries and is in its essence the material form of the pure light of the great central sun, the source of spiritual light in our universe. They say it has the embodiment of the Azez. So when we hold one of the stones, we are touching the angelic beings, the Azez themselves. I must break off here and bring in a quote from the gifted clairvoyant, scientist, and teacher Rudolf Steiner regarding stones and angels. Check out Rudolf Steiner. Anybody, everybody. Okay, so quote, "Our sense organs are therefore perceiving with, but do not perceive themselves. The same applies to the angels, and the mineral world. Their sense organs are to be found in the mineral physical world. Our precious stones are the angels' sense organs. Precious stones are the secret instrument with which angels perceive. End quote. Whoa! Man, I've read some Rudolf Steiner, and I've listened to some of his stuff. I didn't know that. I never read that before. Oh, I've thought of that too, Little Wing, Azazel, which is like a demonic energy. Wow. Okay. So many thoughts and feelings. I love it. Okay. Wow. How resonant these words are with the words of the Azez. And as Robert Sardello has pointed out, quote, this astounding passage tells us that when we hold a stone and feel some sort of a current, we are being perceived by the spiritual world. Such a notion, which is here not a theory, but an observation by one of the world's most respected spiritual masters, can serve as an antidote to the me orientation prevalent in working with stones. They are not perhaps all about us and what we want, but are ways into finding our spiritual destiny and how to enter it, deepen our sense of it, and follow it, unquote. Azrael, that's an angel. You guys are so cool. Okay. The sense of the discovery of one's spiritual destiny and the desire to serve the world through realization of that destiny is the response most people who experience deep self-recognition with Azeztulite report. Serving the world through bringing in more of the nameless light is the purpose the Azez are here to accomplish, and we have the opportunity to facilitate it through aligning ourselves with them. But let us go on with considering Naisha's quote and the parallels of Azeztulite and the fabled Philosopher's Stone. The Philosopher's Stone was said to be the catalyst for the transmutation of lead to gold. In alchemical writings, this was often viewed as a metaphor for the transmutation of the self from the crude ego-bound person to the awakened spiritual human, which I guess I almost said awkward, which seems funny to me. Okay, so to the awakened spiritual human. This is precisely the transmutation Azeztulite is meant and said to facilitate. And where is the knowledge that allows us to reclaim our capacities of clairvoyance, healing, and rejuvenation? In our cells, our genetic memory banks. This resonates with the old alchemical assertions that the gold was inherent within the lead, and that the processes of transmutation would free the gold within the lead. Oh my gosh, I love this woman so much. I will be right back. Wow. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. I love her so much. I met her through YouTube. I met her through narrating, and I got to meet her. And damn, I love you guys so much. Wow. She would love this. I hope she finds it. Okay. Actually, my friend Anne, I met this lady through Anne. And Anne's the one with the colored glass light and stuff. Wow, what an infusion of awesome energy. That woman is a healer. Okay. Okay, where am I? Okay. Gold within the lead. Okay, so another correspondence to the alchemical transmutation of lead into gold concerns the human aura. People who are able to see auras will often say that a sick, frightened, or depressed person's aura is gray. By contrast, an enlightened, joyful, love-filled person's aura is golden white. By its infusion of the currents of the nameless light, Azeztulite can affect just such a color shift in one's auric field, changing the leaden gray, enslaved person into a golden, radiant spiritual human being. Spiritual treasure has always been viewed as a kind of inner gold, and spiritual alchemy's goal has always been the transmutation of the self. Boom. Seek for sight. Hey, welcome in. Good to see ya. Awesome. Also, note that the healing and cellular rejuvenation promised by the Azez is like the achievement of immortality, which the Philosopher's Stone was said to make possible. This tempts me to bring forward a parallel story about the Indian saint Sri Aurobindo and his female counterpart, who was known as Mother. Sri Aurobindo encouraged a new view of the goal of spiritual striving, the goal not of an escape from the world into nirvana, but of bringing the divine energies into manifestation in the world of matter through us. His name for the entering current was the supernatural force. It was a force, by definition, beyond thought or conception. I liken it to the term nameless light, as given by the Azez. Just another page and a page or so of reading about this. Then we'll go back. We'll go to the Azeztulite section in this book too, and look at more pictures, because there's, we'll get there. Okay. After Aurobindo left the world, Mother began her great project of attempting to bring the super mental force. Oh, it was super mental. I read that wrong, I think. Okay, so his name for the entering current was the super mental force. Okay. So Mother began her great project of attempting to bring the supermental force fully into her body, into the very minds of the cells. In her inner explorations, she discovered that the cells are programmed by a deeply ingrained habit rather than a law of nature to degenerate and die. This is so interesting. She said there were no actual laws of nature, only habits, which can be changed. Modern biologist Rupert Sheldrake's theory of morphogenic fields states much the same thing. I liken the cell's habit of giving up and dying to the contracting emotional patterns, which the Azez say cause our cells to go into illness. Dude. A Mother's solution to the problem of the cellular mind was remarkably similar to that of the Azez. Through deep concentration and meditative discipline, she reached the level of a cellular mind and began reprogramming the patterns there. In place of the death habit, which has the powerful habit momentum of history, she installed a new vibratory pattern of sacred sound, the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate, which translates to, I salute the Supreme Divine. To repeat this mantra is to turn toward the center of spiritual light, which lies at the core of matter. which one might also call, as the Azez do, the great central sun. The ancient Hindu rishis 5,000 years ago called it the Saura Agni, Saura space Agni, the sun in darkness. In Mother's case, she did all the work alone, from her own will. In ours, with the help of the Azez and the stone carrying the pattern of vibrational alignment with the nameless light of the great central sun, the work may be easier. It is interesting to see the parallels between Mother's work on immortality, the messages of the Azez, and the legend of the Philosopher's Stone with its capacity to convey this gift. The word enlightenment, another of the promised gifts of the Philosopher's Stone, means to be filled with light. And this is the primary purpose and function of Azeztulite, to bring the nameless light, the Saura Agni, the sun in darkness of the Hindus' rishis, into full expression in the world through us. This was the ultimate goal of the Mother, or of Mother. And to me, it seems the same goal as that prophesied by the Azez. Which brings us to the issue of the world. As Robert Sardello points out, we tend to think of stones too often as the means for ourselves to get something, when their highest use is undoubtedly to move into partnership with the spiritual realm for the sake of the world. If I myself am healed, enlightened, or even made immortal, what good is it? Or what good is that if the world remains ill and its people enslaved to fear and death? There is no doubt that our planet needs healing, and I believe our participation in that is crucial. Here again, Azeztulite enters the picture. The Azez tell us, quote, its activation at certain points on your planet will aid in healing the total organism of Gaia, end quote. Even as I write all of this, I am rather awed by the implications. My past experiences with Azeztulite are numerous and convincing enough to prove to my skeptical side that something very real and out of a truly spiritual nature is going on with Azeztulite. Its parallels with the Philosopher's Stone are striking, and I love the fact that, like the Philosopher's Stone, Azeztulite appears common and unimpressive. It looks like any other chunk of quartz, but the currents it emanates are extraordinary. Like the Philosopher's Stone, not everyone is yet capable of perceiving Azeztulite's currents, yet feeling them is not a matter of fooling oneself with fantasy. If that were so, how to explain the incidences in which people who actively disbelieved in the possibility of the spiritual properties of stones were brought to tears at the touch of the Azeztulite? So what to do now? For me, and for heaven and earth, the mission seems to be to keep getting Azeztulite into the hands of as many people as possible who are ready to receive its gifts. And that number is increasing. The interest in Azeztulite, not only in the USA, but in countries around the world, has multiplied in just the past year. Japan, where the awareness of the spiritual qualities of stones is very high, is currently experiencing a rush of interest in Azeztulite. And it says, note, with this popularity, a number of people, especially on internet sites, began selling various quartz crystals and calling them Azeztulite. Heaven and Earth has the trademark on the name Azeztulite, which we asserted in order to protect the stone and its spiritual purpose from being diluted by such imitations, and we assess and activate all our stones to be sure of their vibrational properties. Although Azeztulite is quartz, not all quartz is Azeztulite. As an aside, I must mention that we came back from the Tucson Gem Show in February 2007 with very little cutting grade Azeztulite for beads and many orders for them. So we came back with very little cutting grade Azeztulite for beads and many orders for them. The snow was 3 feet deep in Vermont, where this type of Azeztulite is located, so our chances of finding more Azeztulite stones seemed non-existent. Yet synchronicity led us to find the stones we needed, even below the snow, in a matter of only 2 days. Events like these convince me that more is at work than my own agenda, and that all of our participation helps facilitate the world awakening prophesized the world awakening, prophesied through Naisha and the Azez themselves. How should we work with the Azeztulite? I think the answer is multifaceted. Simply bringing these stones into our vibrational field is probably the most important. Then the transmutation of our personal lead into spiritual gold can begin. The process of cellular reattunement, the repatterning of the liquid crystal structure of our own organism, can proceed in part on a subconscious level simply by our exposing ourselves to the nameless light and begin and or well, that was easy for me. Simply by our exposing ourselves to the nameless light and being open to its influence. Meditation with Azeztulite can introduce a more active element of choice into the process. Giving our attentiveness to the currents of Azeztulite speeds and enhances its influence dramatically. Saying an inner yes, surrendering to the gift being offered, is a way to align our consciousness with the new pattern. As the Azez said, quote, "Disease on your planet is the result of certain frequencies of light. You block cellularly these light waves through thought-form shields and contracting emotional patterns. Your cellular consciousness are therefore unable to properly learn and expand, resulting in disease. Azeztulite carries energies and frequencies of light that help release the shields and blocks, healing disease and aiding in cellular rejuvenation and expansion," end quote. We can participate in releasing the old patterns of dis-ease by witnessing and actively releasing our contracting emotional patterns. Examples: fear and judgment. We can learn to release fear and its ilk by going to our hearts, dwelling there, finding the truth within, and living from that truth. The deepest truth of the heart that I know of is that our genuine identity is love. That is, from my perspective, essentially the same love that the Azez call the nameless light. Perhaps one might say that the nameless light is divine love, and human love is our particular resonance with that. Denial of love, succumbing to fear, is the same contracting the Azez describe. Of one thing I feel certain: we human beings are needed in order for the nameless light to manifest here on Earth. I liken the connection to an electrical current or circuit. The potential blessing energy of the nameless light dwells in a realm that is vibrationally above the level of most of us and above where the Earth is vibrating. The Azez carry the current as close to us as possible, offering themselves and the stone Azeztulite as conduits. Now it is up to us humans to make the gesture of opening ourselves in trust to receive and ground that light. We are like the wires mined by it. No, wait. I skipped a line. We are like the wires through which the current can pass. But as living beings, we are also blessed, healed, and illumined. Not mined, but illumined. That was on 2 lines. Illumined by it. As more of us do this, more light can pour in, healing, making whole, and regenerating ourselves and the world. As this increases, both we and the stones will carry even higher intensities of this current, and more people as well as more stones will catch and carry this pattern of vibration until ultimately the entire world is filled with it. This is at least what is possible. Namaste. And that was from Robert Simmons. Hey, Kiki, welcome in. Wow. Interesting. Any thoughts you guys want to share about that? Come on in, the water's lovely. I love that. Oh my. All right, let's look at some other pictures, and there's some more stuff up here in the A's for Azeztulite. Okay, so I remembered some stuff a little differently from what I had read the last time I read this. Wow, yeah, because there's so much to read about Azeztulite in here. So, right. I already read most of that in the back to you, but there was other stuff in here too. So let's see. Regenerate. That word comes up somehow every hour. Yay for synchronicities. Yeah, let's find out about that. That's a good question, Genevieve. Where is it found? So Naisha went on to say that the term Azeztulite was the stone's spiritual name, that the beings themselves were called the Azez, and that the stone would become a very important tool for light workers. We were told that the new stone would be colorless and oddly shaped, and like the prismatic crystals of quartz and other minerals with which we are familiar. After much fruitless searching and investigation by all of us, a box of oddly shaped, white to transparent stones arrived in the mail from a total stranger, a rockhound, who thought they were phenacite. When Naisha and her friends inspected the box, they said, "This is not phenacite. This is Azeztulite. Buy it." And that is how we began our work with it. Shortly after, we received the first batch. Naisha sent us a letter with information on Azeztulite and the Azez, including transcripts from her channeling. And this is what it said. The beings with whom I am communicating are part of a society of interdimensional extraterrestrial beings, and they have said we may call them the Azez. From what I understand, their reason for being centers on anchoring the nameless light into planets and into societies, coming under the influence of that energy. The word Azez seems to mean both nameless light and the embodiment of that light in the universe, which is the great central sun. The stone Azeztulite is not only for communication with the Azez, but also holds and channels the energy of the nameless light and its manifestation from the great central sun. These beings have bases all over the world at energy centers both known and unknown to us, including the Andes, the Himalayas, the Adirondacks, and other mountain ranges. I'm not sure if channeling is the correct term for how I communicate with them. It is much more of a direct telepathic link. Next came a transcript of the words she received from the Azez. Quote, "Interdimensional travel involves pulses of energy in the universe, which act as bridges for interdimensional travel. When we travel through many dimensions, these energy pulses cause disruptions that make it difficult for us to communicate with other bases in other dimensions and on other planets. Here enters the stone Azeztulite, which we use to create channels for our communications with other bases. On each base or planet we inhabit, we have chosen a stone to be the anchor for these channels. After some manipulation and alteration, we engineered Azeztulite to handle the intense energies it carries. Until recently, we did not have the technical knowledge to engineer a vessel to contain this energy frequency. In our culture, Azez is the term for the nameless light, the embodiment which is the great central sun. Please understand the implications of what we are explaining. This stone is the embodiment of the Azez and carries with it the manifest energy of the great central sun. This is a powerful stone. This heralds many changes. Azeztulite will enable those of you who are telepathic windows and dimensional engineers to begin to recall. Okay, wait, so we read that, but not here, but over there. So, disease on your planet, organism of Gaia. Some years later, Naisha added these insights. Azeztulite speaks to us of alternate realities. As humans, we inhabit a very narrow range of reality. It is as though we walk this earth with blinders on, never seeing the incredible depth and beauty of all the levels of reality that surround us. Azeztulite was sent as an ally to aid us in connecting with the other realms around us, enabling us to open to the true scope of perception of which we are capable. The coming age of light is about opening ourselves to those more expanded levels of reality. It is about reconnecting with the source of energy that exists beyond us all and is embodied in the great central sun. Azeztulite carries this energy, and when we resonate with it, it shares this broadened perspective with us. From this connection, we will gain a greater wisdom and understanding of the beings that we truly are. Beings of light. Hey, Zulu One, welcome in. Hey, Seven, welcome in, everybody. It's wonderful to see you. So through the years, we have seen thousands of people connect with Azeztulite. We have told the story of its discovery over and over again, yet each telling brings goosebumps of excitement. We have seen people experience such profound contact and recognition that they were in tears. It remains the stone that emanates the most rarefied of all vibrations and brings dramatic awakenings and spiritual growth to those who work with it. As of this writing in 2014, we have been working with Azeztulite for 23 years, and it remains at the top of our list of spiritual stones. As Naisha's later communications with the Azez foretold, more Azeztulites of different types were found around the world. The two newest ones, red fire Azeztulite and black Azeztulite, were found just this year. The red fire Azeztulite in New Zealand and the black Azeztulite in Vermont. Others have been discovered in Colorado, North Carolina, India, and Africa. Several types come from New Zealand and seem connected to that country's beautiful energies. Naisha's links with the Azez also revealed the ultimate goal of these angelic beings, to continue infusing the earth through people attuning to the Azeztulites with the nameless light of the great central sun. It is foretold that this energy infusion will activate more and more of the quartz in the Earth's crust, ultimately transforming our world into a planet of light. So many of the other predictions of the Azez have come true that we are convinced of this one's veracity. And we are working ardently with thousands of others around the world to help bring about this transformation. So white Azeztulite. It's the first Azeztulite discovered, and it was found originally in North Carolina and later in Vermont, USA. White Azeztulite is a silicon dioxide mineral with a hexagonal or trigonal crystal system of a hardness of 7 points. Most pieces are white, but some are partially or fully transparent. The currents of white Azeztulite are greatly amplified when the stone is put through I don't know how to say this, but let's try. Azozio super activation process, taking it to a completely different and higher vibrational level. And so that word was capital A and Azozeo. So there's nothing on earth quite like the original white Azeztulite. And here's what that looks like. It looks like quartz glass. And that, hey, Jackie, welcome in. Awesome. Good to see you. Azeztulite. Okay, so if one holds a white Azeztulite over the third eye, the currents of the stones are experienced as pulsing high-frequency energy that originates in the spiritual realms of light. Indeed, seeing light in the interior of the skull is one of the hallmarks of white Azeztulite. Its currents feel like living light and are accompanied by deeply pleasurable sensations in the head and body. It is as if one is being sweetly caressed by angelic hands, and these hands work with a purpose, for they are not only there to soothe us, but to kindle light and expansion of awareness. Should I read everything it has to say? So we'll get down here. So spiritual meanings of white Azeztulite is white Azeztulite pours a flood of spiritual light into one's consciousness, kindling light body activation, leading ultimately to vibrational ascension. Emotional qualities are a white Azeztulite cleanses the emotional body and infuses it with love, compassion, joy, serenity, and expansiveness. The physical attributes are white Azeztulite brings light into the cells, helping to dissolve any negative patterns that create illness. And the affirmation for it is, I am a child of the divine light, and that light is my own essential self. Wow, okay, so Santa Rosa Azeztulite, elements, storm, earth, chakras, 1st through 7th. Santa Rosa Azeztulite is the name given to a variety of Azeztulite composed of quartz, white feldspar, spessartine garnet, and mica. It was discovered in North Carolina in 2008. The color is primarily an opaque white with speckles of red, pink garnet and shimmering dots of silver gray mica. The hardness of the stone is between 6 and 7. The discovery of Santa Rosa azeztulite is a favorite memory of mine since I was a part of it. Traveling through North Carolina in 2008, I was hoping to find a source of more white azeztulite and had asked a local friend to help me seek out likely locations. I had also, while driving there, received a moment of wisdom in which the Azez seemed to be telling me that I would indeed find more azeztulite, so my hopes were high. As soon as I arrived at my friend's home, we went out looking. Lo and behold, the new azeztulite was there, in the first area where we looked for it. But the new azeztulite was different. Instead of being pure white, it was dotted with bits of reddish pink and shimmering silver gray. And its currents, while definitely those of azeztulite, were different. They were more grounded and somehow more comforting than the original white azeztulite. They entered through the third eye and moved both upward to the crown and down to the heart. In a few moments, my whole body was filled with a soft tingling in which I felt caressed by many invisible hands. When I asked inwardly what to call this new discovery, I was given the name Santa Rosa azeztulite, meaning the rose of the sand, or quartz of the heart. It seemed fitting, because the area was certainly sandy, and those stones currents definitely nourished and expanded the spiritual heart. I was utterly elated to have found them, and to have had the vision from my journey confirmed, not simply with more white azeztulite, but with a whole new variety. Here's what it looks like. Hey, that way. Welcome back. Good to see you. The currents of Santa Rosa azeztulite descend readily to all parts of the body after entering from above. They spread through the liquid crystal body matrix in a graceful flow. Santa Rosa azeztulite is very soothing to the etheric body. Its interface with the energetic membrane of the physical body is a smooth and nurturing one. Its currents bring spiritual light into the body and mind. And it is easier to stay grounded with Santa Rosa azeztulite than with some other varieties. Many people who find white azeztulite too intense are quite comfortable with Santa Rosa azeztulite. Wow. The spessartite, Spessartite, the spessartite garnet in those stones carries a vibration of its own, which harmonizes beautifully with the pure white azeztulite portion of them. This garnet is a very earth-friendly, body-friendly material. It resonates strongly with the first and second chakras, providing the grounding influence one experiences from Santa Rosa azeztulite. Juicy. So spiritual attributes. Santa Rosa azeztulite enhances meditation and dreams and stimulates the attainment of multi-level awareness. It can facilitate inner encounters with high spiritual beings such as the Azez. Emotional attributes. Santa Rosa azeztulite supports inner serenity, and it is soothing to the etheric body. Physically, Santa Rosa azeztulite supports the digestive system and harmonizes one's bodily systems with higher consciousness. It can spiritually benefit dysfunctions related to stress or anxiety. The affirmation for this one is, I am an incarnated self, composed of light and truth, able to see clearly the manifestations of spirit and matter, and to support the awakening of humanity. Amazez azeztulite. Oh, look at this stuff. Looks like chevrons. It's gorgeous. So the keywords for purification, protection, enlightenment, divine connection, psychic capacity, shamanic journeys to the upper world. Elements are wind and storm, chakras, all, including the mouth of God at the back of the head. Amazez is a member of the azeztulite family, a silicon dioxide mineral with a hexagonal crystal system and a hardness of 7. It was discovered on an island of the African coast. Its color is a mixture of shades of purple, grayish purple, and white. Oh, man, I appreciate you that way. You rock. So, let's see here. Where was this one found? Okay. When I first saw Azeztulite crystals, I was struck by how beautiful they were and how much they physically resembled Auralite 23. However, unlike Auralite 23, these new stones are not all purple. They contain bands of white as well. When I first felt their currents, I realized that they had a much stronger vibration than I had expected, stronger than any amethyst-bearing stone and amethyst-bearing stone I had ever come across. And although Azeztulite emanates unique and powerful currents, it is clear that they are of a high vibrational nature that is the signature of Azeztulite. Wow. Azeztulite can stimulate and bring light to any chakra or to any part of one's subtle energy body. Although amethyst's natural home is at the third eye and crown chakras, Azeztulite is equally able to activate the throat, heart, solar plexus, and even the first and second chakras. It fills the whole body with powerful currents of blessings and purification, and it is easily grounded through the feet. In fact, a major part of the stone's program is to ground spiritual light into the earth through us, a purpose completely in alignment with all the other Azeztulites. Interesting. So, spiritually, Azeztulite opens the path to accelerated spiritual evolution through its powerful energies of purification, protection, and awakening. It opens the mouth of God portal for Kundalini energies to enter the brain. Emotionally, Azeztulite cleanses the emotional body of all negative attachments, including dark entities. It dispels depression, anxiety, and timidity, and boosts self-confidence. Physically, Azeztulite stimulates healing of the brain and nervous system. It brings spiritual aid to weak or afflicted areas of the body. And the affirmation is, I call upon the divine source for purification, healing, clarity, awakening, and enlightenment. Wow. Okay, so pink Azeztulite, which looks orange to me. It looks like a stone I have. Deep heart awareness, emotional healing, serenity, and compassion. The element is storm. Chakras, the heart, the third eye, the crown, the soul star, and the transpersonal etheric, 8th to 14th above the head. Whoa! Okay, so pink Azeztulite is a mixed mineral containing both quartz and dolomite. The quartz component of pink Azeztulite is a silicon dioxide mineral with a hexagonal crystal system and a hardness of 7. The dolomite component is a calcium magnesium carbonate with a rhombohedral crystal system and a hardness of 3.5 to 4. The mixture of quartz with dolomite makes pink Azeztulite softer than other varieties. Pink Azeztulite was discovered in the Rocky Mountains of the western United States. I love the Rocky Mountains! Although pink Azeztulite is a mixed mineral, it is unmistakably an Azeztulite, as one recognizes when one meditates and opens to its frequencies. Like the other forms of Azeztulite, pink Azeztulite resonates rapidly through the liquid crystal body matrix, and one senses tingling over the entire surface of one's skin, as though one is being gently touched by innumerable tiny hands. What a funny thing, he says a lot. Tiny hands. Everywhere! Oh, have a great one. Have a great one, 7. Thanks for coming in, man. So the spiritual self-healing pink Azeztulite supports the heart, lungs, and circulatory system. It is recommended for helping heal physical maladies rooted in past emotional wounds. Spiritually, pink Azeztulite stimulates heart awareness, compassion, empathy, and kindness. It encourages one to become a light being and human incarnation. Emotionally, Pink azeztulite is an ideal stone for emotional healing, soul retrieval, forgiveness, and reconciliation. It softens one's demeanor and keeps the channels of feeling open. Physically, pink azeztulite supports the heart, lungs, and circulatory system. It aids self-healing in areas linked to emotional wounds. Affirmation: I am whole within my heart, present to others from my heart, and spiritually enlightened by the divine wisdom I encounter through my heart. Cinnabar azeztulite. Cinazez. Wow. Cinnabar. Danger, right? Mercury. Mr. Hugh, welcome in, man. Happy Monday. I asked for some cinnabar for Christmas, but my mom wouldn't get it for me because of the danger. I was like, I'm not going to breathe it. But I mean, yeah. It's not like I could still get it somewhere else. And I probably will. So, Cinazez is a unique combination of red cinnabar, white quartz, and a black zinc compound. It has been found only in New Zealand. The quartz component of Cinazez is a silicon dioxide mineral with a hexagonal crystal system and a hardness of 7. The cinnabar component is a mercury sulfide with a trigonal trapezoid how do I say? A trigonal trapezohedral crystal system and a hardness of 2 to 2.5. The zinc compound is currently not identified specifically. The components of most Cinazez specimens are so thoroughly mingled that the softness of the cinnabar is not noticeable. The mineral is usually full of tiny open cavities, which sometimes contain tiny druzy crystals. Cinazez is named for the prominent presence of cinnabar, and because the stones exhibit the energetic properties of azeztulite. Wow. It's such a cool world. Well, that too. It's such a cool word, Cinazez. Cinazez stimulates the intelligence of the heart and strengthens the neutral networks through which the mind and heart communicate. Wow. That's awesome. So key words are alchemical transformation, accelerated evolution, prosperity, longevity, immortality, enhancement of extrasensory perception, increased synchronicities, awakening to heart intelligence, and attunement to the primordial light and sound. Elements are earth, wind, fire, and storm, and chakras, all, especially the crown, the 7th, the third eye, the 6th, and the heart, the 4th. Okay, let's, SK, welcome in. Oh, so good to meet you at a live. Welcome. And thank you so much for all of your thoughtful comments. You give me so many warm smiles. I'm really thankful that we have been able to connect. Welcome in. Golden azeztulite. So key words. Oh, here's a picture. Here's another picture up here. So key words: attunement with the gold white light, light body awakening, time travel, assessing the hall of records, ooh, kindling the sun of the heart, and awakening the pineal gland. Element storm, chakras, 4th, the heart, 3rd, or no, 4th, okay, heart, the 4th chakra, 3rd eye, the 6th chakra, the crown chakra, 7th, soul star, and transpersonal etheric, 8th to 14th above the head. Golden azeztulite is the name given to a group of prismatic crystallized azeztulites discovered in North Carolina, USA. These, and the beautiful saurolite azeztulite from New Zealand, are the only fully crystal-shaped azeztulites discovered thus far. Like all azeztulites, they are a form of quartz with a hexagonal and trigonal crystal system and a hardness of 7. Golden azeztulites are named because of their citrine yellow to light smoky range in color, and because of their ability to engender within one's awareness the spiritual ray of gold white light, the ray of the great central sun. Wow. Man. All right. So, yeah, I mean, Azeztulite, that's going to have to be something in the near future here, right? For I'm going to go on some searching. Now, I read about this a couple years back, and now that I'm refreshing my memory on this, woo, who feels called? Who wants? I mean, like, really? This golden Azeztulite. Wow. So it stimulates the pineal gland, which produces the chemical DMT, or dimethyltryptamine, associated with very intense expansions of consciousness, as well as visionary encounters with beings on higher planes. No one knows exactly what conditions are necessary to turn on the pineal gland, but experiences with golden azeztulite suggest that it can have this effect. One of the visions I have had with this stone, sometime after the initial episode with the L-shaped bar of light, involved the feeling that a spot in the very center of my brain was excreting nectar, a delightfully delicious something that seemed to flow from that central point and slowly fill up the whole inside of my skull with a very strong and sweet sense of euphoric bliss. Whoa. Whoa. Wow. All right, so spiritually, golden azeztulite can open the heart, third eye, and crown chakras, stimulates them to much higher levels of activity. These stones can engender visionary experience, time travel, interdimensional communication, and light body activation. Emotionally, golden azeztulite crystals facilitate inner states of euphoria, bliss, joy, and ecstatic rapture. They can help heal old patterns of limitation brought about by emotional wounds. Physically, golden azeztulite supports the brain and nervous system. It seems to stimulate the pineal gland, bringing forth a variety of positive and pleasurable effects. The affirmation for the stone is, I open myself to be permeated with the golden light of the enlightened earth and the pure white light of the divine, and I invite them to flood into my heart, brain, and body. Wow, okay, so now we have the honey and cream azeztulite. Key words: inner light and sweetness, pleasure, bliss, and ecstasy. Contact with the Azez in dreams or meditation, love, blessing, emotional healing, and recovery from stress or illness. Elements are water, wind, and earth, and chakras are all, especially the heart. And here's what it looks like. It was juicy! So honey and cream azeztulite is the name given to a variety of azeztulite found only in certain rivers and beaches of New Zealand. Its name is derived from the fact that its coloring is a blend of creamy white and rich golden honey brown. Another aspect of the stone's naming is the perception that its energetic currents are delicious like honey and cream. The stone is a silicon dioxide mineral with a hexagonal crystal system and a hardness of 7. Typically, the raw specimens have been rounded by centuries of tumbling in rivers or in the sea, but in many pieces, there remain small pockets where tiny crystals can be seen. Wow. So honey and cream azeztulite emanates currents that fill the body with waves of light and something I have to call sweetness. It is a very pleasant sensation, stimulating one's higher capacities and filling one with soft, comforting vibrations. These are stones one could easily fall in love with, as they seem to generate love within every cell of the body. They are different from many high-energy stones, which can be powerful and intense. Honey and cream azeztulites combine power with love in a way that calls to mind nature in her most fertile and lovely expressions. Wow, that's so poetic. Emoji King, welcome. Good to see you. So they emanate the most feminine currents of all azeztulite. They feel very nurturing, and they have a soothing quality, even as they bring a great deal of light into one's body and consciousness. Wow. In particular, I recommend sleeping with the honey and cream azeztulites, while the original white azeztulite and Satya Loka clear azeztulite are probably too intense for most of us to be able to sleep comfortably in their presence. Honey and cream azeztulite can waft you on a carpet of sweetness into the realm of dreams. And the dreams one experiences with these stones are often profoundly spiritual. One can travel through the levels of the cosmic spheres to the great central sun, feeling successive waves of bliss. This experience can also occur when one meditates with these stones. One may meet the angelic beings who are the Azez themselves, or even encounter Sophia, the soul of the world, in the dream or meditative state. Such experiences are ecstatic in nature, and the pleasurable waves engendered by honey and cream azeztulite can help one attune to the frequencies of ecstasy that are the nature of the highest realms. Spiritually, honey and cream azeztulite fills one with love and spiritual blessings. It is nurturing on every level and helps the soul to feel safe and comfortable on the path of spiritual evolution. Emotionally, honey and cream azeztulite emanates currents of sweetness that can heal the emotional body and bring a sense of security. It feels as if one is being held in an angel's arms. Physically, honey and cream azeztulite supports healing and recovery of vitality after stress or illness. The affirmation is, I know that I am always loved and constantly blessed, and I offer my gratitude and blessings to all beings. Man, so good. Himalayan gold azeztulite. Creative manifestation through the will. Co-creating with Sophia, kindling the great central sun in the heart, filling the body with gold light. The element is sun, and the chakras that it affects are solar plexus, third, heart, fourth, third eye, sixth, crown, seventh, soul star, eighth, and transpersonal etheric, 9th to 14th above the head. Himalaya gold azeztulite was discovered in 2008 in the regions near the Himalaya mountains. Like other azeztulites, it is a form of quartz with a hexagonal, trigonal crystal system and a hardness of 7. The name derives from the location of its discovery and its bright yellow color. I can't see. Is it in? There we go. So, Himalaya gold azeztulite emanates azeztulite's whole pattern of energies, and one of its special qualities is its resonance with the solar plexus chakra. This is the seat of power and manifestation in the human being. As with other conditions we carry from the past, within our solar plexus are patterns of limitation that severely limit our capacity to create. We literally do not know our power, and in the past, this may have kept us from abusing it. Yet with evolution into expanded awareness comes the necessity of taking up our full range of potentials. The arrival of Himalaya gold azeztulite coincides with the beginning of our development of new capacities for creative manifestation through the will. The stimulation of the solar plexus in alignment with the seat of vision in the third eye chakra is an important aspect of this activation. Wow. In one meditation with Himalaya gold azeztulite, I saw an inner image of a golden sun or a radiant star over my head, and I felt the radiance of this golden sun penetrate my crown chakra slowly, like liquid light with the consistency of honey. The golden light descended slowly through my third eye, and I began to inwardly see a field of golden light. It continued descending through my shoulders and the upper chest, and I felt the light being pulled down through my root chakra into the earth. Then I had a sudden vision of the heart as an organ of gold and recognition of the nature of the heart as a radiant star. An inner voice spoke. We all have this. Working with Himalaya gold azeztulite can bring about such experiences in anyone. Spiritually, Himalaya gold azeztulite brings the pure golden ray of spiritual light into the body. It enhances inner vision and facilitates co-creation with the soul of the world. Emotionally, Himalaya Gold Azeztulite encourages one to have the courage to create and brings joy as it opens the portals of higher spiritual awareness. Physically, Himalaya Gold Azeztulite stimulates profound healing on the cellular level through the infusion of golden light. It offers special support to the heart, lungs, and digestive system. The affirmation is, I am a creator with the soul of the world, and the intensity of power I can manifest is equal to the depth of my joyous surrender. Dude. Pink Fire Azeztulite. Keywords are the inner fire of divine love, high heart activation, passionate self-identification with love, emotional and physical self-healing, element fire, chakras, heart, and the high heart between 4 and 5. Pink Fire Azeztulite is the name given to a milky, semi-transparent form of azeztulite characterized by streaks of dark brownish-red hematite. It is a silicon dioxide mineral with a hexagonal crystal system and a hardness of 7. It was found on an island off the coast of Africa. It was found on an island off the African coast. Pink Fire Azeztulite is energetically an unusual stone because it becomes infused with the currents of azeztulite through the azozio superactivation process. In its non-azozio activated state, it is called agnonite, or stone of fire. Whoa, I want to learn more about this azozio thing. Do you guys know about that? Azozio. He's mentioned it a few times now. When we first began our work with the Azeztulite, we were told by the Azez, the angelic beings who foretold and activated the first Azeztulites, that more Azeztulites would be found, period. Later, we learned that the Azez intend for all the quartz on Earth to eventually resonate with the frequencies of Azeztulite. This is a profound work of transformation, one that can make the Earth into a planet of light. The azozio process allows us to facilitate that transformational activation, and one stone that proves this to me is Pink Fire Azeztulite. After its exposure to the azozio field, it has taken on new properties that I did not observe before. One of these is responsible for its new name. The Hindu rishis spoke many centuries ago in the Rig Veda about the divine fire, or Agni, which was both a being and an internal experience. When Agni enters the body, it transforms the cells into light-giving sources of vast energy that brings enlightenment, ecstasy, and knowledge of truth. Agnotite has always been a conduit of these energies, but its newly activated azozio state makes it much more powerful. Wow. Here's what it looks like. It was on this page. Right here. Oh, no, this one. This is where we are. So spiritually, Pink Fire Azeztulite kindles the inner fire of the divine love, making one both a receiver and a transmitter of intense and powerful love energies. Emotionally, Pink Fire Azeztulite initiates the energy of love in a way that can go beyond normal human experience. It profoundly aids emotional healing on all levels. Physically, Pink Fire Azeztulite spiritually supports recovery from autoimmune illnesses. It facilitates self-healing through permeating the cells with the light and fire of divine love. The affirmation is, I give myself totally to the receiving and expressing of divine love. Then we've got Red Fire Azeztulite, which is New Zealand Red Azeztulite. Wow, it looks like copper, sort of. So keywords are a life force, enthusiasm, vitality, power, passion, sexuality, energization of the blood, intelligence, visionary experience, healing, longevity, and alchemical transmutation. Elements are earth, fire, and storm. Chakras, all. Red Fire Azeztulite is a member of the Azeztulite family, a microcrystalline silicon dioxide mineral with a hexagonal and trigonal crystal system and a hardness of 7. It is native to New Zealand and is deep red in color. Iron inclusions are the primary coloring agent. Wow, iron. And I was thinking copper. Wow. It does look metal. Red fire azeztulite is an unusual stone energetically because its currents are greatly amplified when the stone is put through the azozio superactivation process, taking it to a completely different and higher vibrational level. All right, azozio activation. What? Azozio superactivation process. Let's learn about that, you guys. I don't know what it is. Azozio. Oh, wait, no, I want to keep that. Azozio super activated process. Boom, there it is. It's a story. Hey, wow, that's what Robert Simmons looks like. I'm going to share this page with you guys. We'll read it together. Where are you? StreamYard. Boom. Okay, so where are you? Present. Okay. Share screen. Azozio. Share. Okay, I'm going to go and look on StreamYard to make sure that it's being shared. It is. All right. So, Azozio superactivated azeztulites, the beginning of a new crystal era by Robert Simmons. Azazeo, pronounced Azazeo. Okay, Azazeo. As you browse this website, you will notice azeztulite items that have been Azazio superactivated, or other stones having undergone that process. Below is the story of Azazio and how it entered my world. In August of 2012, I received a vision. I was at my home in Vermont, where I have a labyrinth made out of azeztulites and some Rosophia stones. As I sat looking at the labyrinth, I thought back upon the whole history of azeztulite. It seemed miraculous to me, the way the appearance of these stones had been pre-announced by angelic beings, the Azez. They had told Naisha, my co-author of the Book of Stones, about the imminent arrival of the azeztulite, and they told her that this was the name we must give the stones when they appeared. Since then, for over 20 years, our company, Heaven and Earth, has been disseminating and discovering more types of azeztulite, all in accordance with the plans and directions we received from the Azez so many years ago. More recently, we learned that the Azez intend for all the quartz on Earth to ultimately receive the vibration of the nameless light of the great central sun, making all the quartz into azeztulite. My sense is that the fulfillment of that prophetic vision will coincide with the global awakening of the Earth as a planet of light and the mass enlightenment of humanity. There had been many synchronistic affirmations along the way. One of the most startling and exciting ones for me was the discovery, back when I was doing research for my book Stones of the New Consciousness, of the ancient book of Ayu. This was one of the apocryphal Gnostic Gospels and was purported to have been a guide to the ascension process dictated by Jesus to the disciples after his own ascension. At one point in the narrative, there is this description of one of the ascension stages. Quote, when you reach the fourth aeon, Samelo and Chochoucha. Wow. Chochoucha, which is a pair of obstructing archons. Wow. So Samelo and Chochoucha will come before you. Seal yourself within this seal. This is its name, Azazio. Say it once only. Hold his cipher, 4,555 in your hands. When you have finished sealing yourself with this seal and said its name only once, say these defenses also. Withdraw yourselves, Samio and Chochochacha, you archons of the 4 Aeon, because I call upon Zazio, Chozozaza, Zazio. I don't know how to say these things. Okay, so when you have finished saying these defenses, the archons of the 4th Aeon will withdraw to the left, but you will proceed upward. Okay. Hopefully we can get to what this means now. I'm starting to feel irritated. Okay. I was and am still struck by the above passage from this ancient book. Here was an actual 2,000-year-old manual for ascension describing the stages and beings involved. And more to the point, the word used to invoke protection and the names of the protective beings all contain similarities to the word Azez, root of the name Azeztulite. And of course, we were told at the beginning of our Azeztulite adventure that the name Azez means the nameless light of the great central sun, which is closely akin to the goal of the ascension process in the book of Io. In that book, the disciples were being directed in how to ascend to the realms of light, i.e., the central sun. And I feel sure that the names given in the book for the protective beings aiding humankind in this ascent, Zozeza, Chazozaza, and Zazezo, are referring to the same protective beings who have activated and guided the emergence of Azeztulite. They all sound similar to Azez, their collective name. Further, they are engaged now in the ascension of all humanity and the earth. It provokes awe in me to realize, Realize. It provokes awe in me to realize that when I hold an Azeztulite in my hands, I am, in a sense, touching those beings and the divine currents from the great central sun. I am amazed to realize that these beings of light have been aiding the spiritual evolution of humanity and our world for at least 2,000 years, and that we can connect with them and our own great destiny through Azeztulite. Let us return now to the August of 2012. As I was sitting on my porch contemplating all this, I wondered whether there was something more to be done. As powerful as Azeztulite is, I felt there might be another level, another octave of energy that still could be accessed by those ready for it. I could imagine all the courts of the earth vibrating as Azeztulite. But what about Azeztulite itself? Was it fully awakened, or could there be more? Okay. I'm trying to get to the point where he tells us what this means. I still recall vividly the moment when the vision came to me. It was powerful and simple. As I gazed at the Azeztulite labyrinth, I suddenly saw with my inner eyes a pyramid over the center of it, glowing with supernal light. And in that moment, I knew what to do. I would construct a pyramid chamber in the labyrinth's center, placing Azeztulite stones inside it. The combined energy fields of the pyramid and the Azeztulite labyrinth might stimulate the stones inside to a higher level of activation. But there was more to do. I felt a compelling inner urge, as if I were being told, to place 2 very large phenicites in the energy field to be created. I collect large phenicites, and I have 2 very large ones. A 2-pound African phenicite and an 18-pound terminated Brazilian phenicite single crystal, which I believe is the world's largest. The 2-pounder was to go at the apex of the pyramid, and the 18-pounder was to be placed in the center of the pyramid's base. The 2 would form a circuit of light, and the Azeztulite stones would be activated and the Azeztulite stones to be activated would be placed on a table between them. It was clear that the two very large phenicites were crucial to the process. And I suddenly understood why I had felt it was so important to get the 18-pounder phenicite the previous February. This crystal is the prize of my collection, a very tangible stone being with a joyful and luminous presence. And now I was beginning to learn about its purpose. Phenicite has a close relationship with Azeztulite and was actually initially used by the Azez, according to Naisha's original channelings, to vibrationally activate the first Azeztulites. Interesting. 2 years prior, when building the Azeztulite labyrinth, I had felt powerful inner intensity around doing it. Now, once again, that intensity seized me. I erected a copper pyramid, its pipes filled with Azeztulite and Rosophia stones, in the center of the labyrinth, and then placed the phenicites as I had been directed. I brought the glass table into the center where the Azeztulites to be activated were to be placed. Then there was one last touch. My inner guidance said I needed to use the ancient word of invocation in the Azazio. Following my inner voice, I printed out the words and attached them on all four sides of the table, for the four directions. Then I walked the labyrinth in ritual consciousness, carrying the Azeztulite stones to be treated, holding them to my heart and focusing on the intention that they be activated to their highest potential for ritual consciousness, carrying the Azeztulite stones to be treated, holding them to my heart and focusing on the intention that they be activated to their highest potential for the good of all. At the center, after placing the stones on the table, I uttered words of invocation and spoke Azazio, or no, Azo. And I spoke I uttered words of invocation and spoke Azoezo to each of the four directions and silently to the fifth direction. The ritual was complete. Now was the time of waiting. After exiting the labyrinth, I went to the house and sat gazing back at the labyrinth, wondering if all this guidance had been as real as it seemed. In my 30 years of working with crystals and minerals, I had only attuned myself to whatever vibrations were already being emanated by the stones. I had never tried to do anything to increase their energies or power. I really had never imagined that anything like that was possible. So I wondered how long to leave the stones on the table in the labyrinth pyramid. An inner voice said, for one cycle of night and day, 24 hours later, I walked the labyrinth again to retrieve the Azeztulites. When I brought the Azazio treated stones into the house, I sat down with one to check out whether anything had happened. Immediately, I caught my breath. Yes! There was a difference, a big difference. The already powerful Azeztulites had more than doubled in their intensity, and the frequency of their pulsations was much faster. In seconds, the currents I felt in my hands moved to the third eye, the crown chakra, and then all through my body and finally to my feet, where a strong charge seemed to go through me and into the earth. The longer I held the stone, the stronger the currents in my body became. I experienced a vision of entering a spiral of light and traveling to the great central sun. I felt spiraling currents of celestial fire spinning down into my body from above, entering the crown and feeling as if they spread out into a web of infused energy, into a web that infused every cell with divine light. I suddenly understood that this is what light body activation feels like. A wave of elation spread through me, and with that wave came the recognition that the whole tale of the Azez and the enlightenment of the world contained new chapters, which were being written in that very moment, and which will continue to unfold in the months and years to come. Wow, interesting. So he built a special pyramid and spoke special incantations. Wow, and was led by spirit. Can we look at these pictures? I want to see him closer. So heaven and earth. So if you guys want to check out this website, heavenandearthjewelry.com. I'm going to check out more on this site for sure. Okay, back to StreamYard. Let's stop screen. Okay, so we've pretty well talked about Azeztulite for a very long time now. There's the red fire Azeztulite. There's another here, Asarolite Azeztulite. We've got Satyaloka clear Azeztulite. Satyaloka rose Azeztulite. Satyaloka yellow Azeztulite. Black Azeztulite. Wow. So there were still quite a few more of these Azeztulites left. But dang, I think we've been pretty thorough about it. And if you wanna learn more, you can certainly go online and check out that website. You can also get the Book of Stones, Who They Are and What They Teach, by Robert Simmons. It's juicy good. Yeah. Someone had mentioned Azazel earlier too, Pa Joe. Lo is Jupiter moon. Really? Is that what that means, Fiona? Lo and behold? Wow. Always eat their emotion. Protect themselves from other people's emotions. Dudes, anyways, thanks for checking this out with me. It ended up being much longer than I knew it would be, but juicy. So dang, I want to get my hands on one of those stones. Thanks for hanging out with me. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. For the daily energy guide, right? Until then, thank you so much. I'll see you later.